Okay, welcome. Let me find my video. There you go. I'm in the bush today. How you doing? I wasn't sure if the internet would work, but there you go. We're here. And I'm alive because I can see myself there. And there. All right. It's going to be an attempt to be a short one today because Tuesday is my really busy day. So giving myself a little love, say, pace yourself. Okay, pace yourself. Pace yourself, ladies and gents. All right. So what are we going to do today? How are you? How you doing? Let me get this chat on. Copy this into there. So, wow, lots of things happening. We'll just put the Zoom link in the live stream if people wanted to come over, because that's the easiest place for me to see your comments, or on Instagram. So what you doing? How you doing? This is my new bench, by the way. Last week got me back on track. Oh, well, that's good to hear. I thought that said off track, but on track. Okay. No, it's good. It's just me reading from way over there. So this is my, I can't show everything, but this is my tree where I meditate. There's a bit, I've got everything sort of strategically sort of, so it's easy for me because I've got Instagram here, right? There's Instagram. Look, I'm purple on Instagram. Woo. So I'm going to show Instagram. This is my my tree, and I meditate down there. But I've got this bench that we made into the tree. So I'm literally sitting in the tree, but on a piece of wood. A tree house. What? I'm in a tree house. I can't move the whole computer. Sorry. It's a bit wobbly. So, all right, what else did you see? So today you're a good 10. Wow. Why are you here then? To stay a 10? To continue to be an 11? To be 100? But what's the capacity? You know that it's infinite. It's like love. Did you know that love is infinite? When you think, oh, you can't possibly love anymore, that there's more. That there's more. And it blows your mind. I don't know, has anybody felt that? Where you just don't think it's possible to have any more love because you feel like full of love. And then the next day it's like, oh my goodness, it's more, right? And your mind starts to play like, it's like, how? Like what? Or maybe that wasn't love. But it's infinite. Purity of unconditional love. It's infinite. Right? There is no end. In fact, it reminds me of there's no end. You know, when people are saying, you know, what are they to do with their lives, and, you know, talking about the endings of things. Well, there's no ending until you find the beginning. And it's about finding the beginning that also brings the end, right? And that might sound spooky if you think death is a particular thing, but it depends what type of death we're talking about. Oh, Mercedes, you're everywhere. I'll give you a little wave. Hey, hey. So many of the people who, I guess, walk with me or I walk with them, it's about the beginning. Where do you begin? Where do you begin? But where, like, as in what step, but also where do you begin? Oh, this is a meditation or contemplation you do the rest of your life. This came when I was a contemporary artist. I did the weirdest art, and I still do, really, because it's contemplating this sort of stuff. So I've got a passion fruit tea today, aloha tea. There you go. Lilikoi, they call it, lilikoi passion fruit tea. It's really nice. I'm not a big fan of passion fruit, but it's nice tea. So when I take a sip of my tea, at what point does it become me? When it's in my mouth, when it's going down into my digestive system, when it we could go into all the anatomy. Now, as a questioner, a seeker, I was fascinated with this question. And there's a lot of awesome artists out there that were doing similar sort of things around, where does the baby, where does the child, a pregnancy or in utero, when does it become the mother and then not the mother? When does that child, that being, have its own, there's a wasp, hey, have its own beginning, and hence its own end, and hence its own beginning? Its death, as it was, into the birth of the other, and then the letting go of the other for the birth of the, right? You could drive yourself absolutely bonkers, which I did, and that's been my life. From as far back as I can remember, I was like, I'd ask these questions, and I'd be like, no, that's not right. From like 5, 6, 7 years old, I'll be like, that doesn't, no. And I'd ask somebody else, and I'd just keep asking people, because, and here's a hint for adults: when you speak to children, don't bullshit them. They have more capacity than you understand, and you could be the difference for that child actually developing and growing in truth and trust and experience, or you stunting them and they're having to do the work later on to try and get answers, right? So there's age appropriate stuff, but it's not lying, and it's not giving them so what it is, it's the adult's fear. So what you're scared of, what you're worried about, having to bring up and answer questions around because of your beliefs and human condition. And they're all different depending on where and how, what culture and whatnot. Slight differences in beliefs. So where do we begin? Where do we end? Where does something we eat? So when I've got my new veggie patch growing here, I'll have to post a picture. But in Perth, I had the veggie garden. When I would cut the spinach or zucchini or whatever it was that I was growing, I would be talking to the plant and letting it know that it's not its end, it's its beginning, it's its new beginning. It will begin its journey with me in this vehicle. And then what parts or how it walks this earth as part of this vehicle, this human, or what parts are, let go if it's not what this system needs, right? Hey, how you doing? So nerding out a little bit, but this is my well, sprinkler system's just, I'm sitting right next to the sprinkler system, so I might have to quickly run if but anyway, we'll keep going. What so contemplating where you begin, where you end and begin and end and begin and end. Multiple levels. Blow your mind, really. You can create your own insanity contemplating some of this stuff, right? Because it's on multiple levels. So one of the little birds has come and joined us. This tree is full of birds. So I'm just feeling into that. I think that's enough there. Just a contemplation where you think something is ending. You can't really have an end without a beginning. So there was a beginning for the ending and the ending for the beginning. And so in energetics, the endings are the deaths or the finishing in one state or one function or one movement or one flow for the next way, rhythm, function, flow, form to be, right? And so many of us are worried about an ending, but you haven't had a true beginning. So don't worry about the ending. Go for the beginning. And with the beginning comes the ending. Do you get me? The end. The beginning. So might have been a little bit cryptic for some of you. What I'm saying is where you begin, not this physical, the beginning of how the soul body comes into the incarnation. So it's an ending as soul aspect in some way, and the beginning of the incarnation, but the soul aspect is within. It just is in a different form, in a way, because it's still in its being, right, within us, and then it can move and experience. So that's the beginning. The soul body is number one, right? If we go through the 10 bodies. So in the Psi program, we're going into module 2, in fact, which is the negative mind. So we go from 1 to 2. So we go from 1 coming in, soul body, into the physical. Whoops, my stuff's flying off. Into the physical, and the negative mind is what aspects. Now I'm just holding everything. The wind's picking up. We might blow off down the canyon. And the negative mind is what is scanning and looking and deciphering what's basically a threat, what's harmful, what's not. So it is a very important aspect of the human. Number 2, negative mind, right? So interesting how the other energy systems fit in with that. The meridians, for instance, and how we have particular energetics that are looking for danger and are on high alert, And when we go into long-term or a longer-term stress, meaning there's a lot of stressors around us, they can get into a habit. So they start a beginning, but the beginning as a habit that's to assist your survival. However, there is no true ending because it's a false activation, like your fire alarm going off at 2 a.m. for no reason, right? Faulty alarm system. Or, you like your, so I like when I like my tofu like crunchy, right? So it used to always set off the fire alarm, right? And there's no fire, it's just smoky. That's what a lot of your energy, well, actually everybody's human energy system is doing at the moment. It's on high alert. And so much of the symptoms or activations that humanity's having, and have always, but particularly at this time in human existence, because we're going through the end times. Oh, wow, look how that just came in. I just rock up and I don't know what I'm going to say. I've just gone, whoa, that was awesome. Okay, we're in the end times. Yes, we are. Right. So some might call it the messianic times. Whoa, the end times are coming. Hang on. Let's make sure my computer doesn't fly off down the ravine. With that, and it's been said in prophecy by the yogis, by other prophets, by seers and whatnot, that this time will be when there is a lot of mental health, a lot of depression, a lot of cold depression. Cold depression is a little bit different than general depression, right? And in the work that I do, that's what I've seen. Is I've worked in mental health, in drug and alcohol and other drugs, addiction and whatnot. So what these energies do is they're looking for the nervous system, the energetic arms of the nervous system in particular, are looking for danger to support you in your adventures, let's say, so that you don't have an end. The issue with not having an end is that you will be stuck in this new pattern of behavior energetically because your systems are being fired by a false alarm of sitting at the computer for so long, sitting in traffic, viruses and whatever else has been going on the last few years, or how that's impacted you, recessions and blah, 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 whatever's going on, okay? And so it kicks in. And what kicks in then impacts inflammation, impacts your aura, impacts your sensory system. So you've got a sensory system that when in a stress response it's like it activates the priority one, which is different for everybody. And then you're not using all the other sensory systems integrated. It's a stress response with one, and it works in a and I might be confusing you, so bear with me. And if I am, just know that you have 4 main sensory systems. Not like your how do I energetic sensory systems, right? Energetic sensory systems, right? So, and they're held in a particular layer in your field, right? So when you're stressed, and I touched on this the other day, when you're stressed, there's the main one, and that will be working in its stress response rather than in its full response of, you know, love and fear. It'll be just in fear of fear, right? Or fear of love. So then the other systems, because they're being pulled and drained to support the stress response, they're lacking, they're depleted, and then they start to go into their ending, right? Which will create particular symptoms for particular parts of the energy system. So this is what I was saying yesterday. You know, when somebody tells me what's going on for them, I listen to their experience, and my head's going like a computer, because every part relates to another part, which relates to another part, and will produce a particular effect or affect for the human. So knowing that and doing it for 30 odd years, I can go, oh yeah, it's probably that. And then I just go in and have a look at the energy, and I'm like, oh, yep, there it is. It's not magic. It's not mystery, really. It's knowing the systems, the energetic systems, the physiological systems, and the soul to spirit systems, how you work, how we work as a human. And there's different levels. So this morning I was preparing for class this afternoon, and going over a meditation I wanted to take them through, and then realizing it's too advanced right now, and how I need to build them up to that. And the reason I'm telling you that, it's not to tease you, although I do like to tease a little. So, but you know, I share it as much as I can live. The thing is, with these higher energetics, there is preparation. So if we're bringing in, so just, I've said this in passing for a lot of things, really. It's so I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to say, you know, I would talk about parables and metaphor around, you know, there's one I've told for years and years and years, but in a nutshell, it's like when the temple was built and the rabbis ran to the temple, and, you know, there's a bunch of them standing around. This could be anybody, but this is just the story that I heard, that I went, oh, that's a really good example. So the temple's built, and the holy men, would you say the holy men, right? Two of them said, oh, they're strong enough within their belief systems, within their connection with God or the beloved, or, you know, or my computer needs to be plugged in. So I said it's going to be quick, so computer's going to go dead, and it will be that quick. But the light from that temple was too strong for humanity at that time. So these holy men thought that they were, you know, they'd had it. They ran. They were burnt up, dead, right? So somebody, I think it was Rebel, said last week about, you know, how it's been taught to fear going direct, having direct access, right? And, you know, I feel like there's truth, and I know there's truth in everything. There's love in everything. There's fear in everything. There's love of love, and fear of fear, and fear of love, and love of fear, all of it. But it's not about being scared. It's about the negative mind going, how is this going to harm me? Is this going to harm me? So what are the contraindications to a particular work or particular medication or particular, whatever it is? So somebody said to me the other day, they're taking something to help them sleep. Now, it does cause memory loss, but they're like, well, whatever, right? And all those American because here in America, you got awesome sort of, I don't see them very often, but I've seen about 3 where it tells you what the medication's for, and then it's got this whole list of contraindications, like it may cause cancer, may cause blindness, may cause, right? And it's for like a sore throat or something. I'm like, really? You're going to take that for your headache or your sore throat? Do you get what I'm saying? So anyway, that's with everything. You hedge your bets, I guess. Mine was like that last week. My system was stressed, but it didn't make sense. I could see what was going on, but found it difficult to stop it. You helped me last week, and the triple woman helped me. Yeah. So I'm going to drop a hint on something that's coming up, and I can't tell you when I'm going to put that out, but it is around a container that will be very low cost, but somewhere where we can do deeper stress and trauma work, right? And the reason that it has to have a container is for what I'm telling you about. I need to monitor, and depending on what it is, how you react. So I won't give you anything that I may need to monitor on a live. So you're sort of restricted in what you're going to get, although what you do get will work. But for those of you that have complex, particularly complex trauma, PTSD, things like that, or chronic health, the first aid will relieve little bits and pieces, but it won't get right in. There needs to be, and what I've found doing the scanning of energy, those of you that are doing that, I'll see in a week, you'll go from a bunch of misaligned energetics, and it's usually around the second week that it comes down to 2 or 1. And those 2 or the 1, always the stress response, always triple warmer, always. That's where it starts. Can you see why I'm sort of sharing this or not? Everything comes from this seed, and it comes out, and it'll either be the yin or the yang energetic arm of the nervous system, or both. Usually it's a triangulation of 2 of them and another meridian that will give you a symptom. Do you understand? There's code, there's data, it's not woo-woo, it's science, ancient, right? Scientists got their science from the mystics and the healers and the ancient Chinese medicine and Ayurveda and all the rest of it, right? So it's not guessing. There's systems, and we know the systems well enough to be able to go, oh yeah, that and that. We can follow cancer. Cancer is like a parasite in the energy system, and you can see where it's going to go next, because there's a flow and a control, right? So it's one of those, and you can sort of look at that. So anyway, gone off on a bit of a tangent. Where was I? So anyway, that's what I'm sort of looking at, so that I can, for those of you that are interested or have specific things that you want more details on, you can have that, because I can only take so many people, right, to do one-on-one stuff with. But just feeling now, because my computer's on red, so it's going to cut out soon. I'm just feeling what I need to tell you today. So know that there's a building of the strength. We strengthen the energetics. It's like taking your energy bodies to the gym, strengthening them so that you can receive and hold. It's not even really holding, but that's the word I'm going to use now, right? it's literally like the electrical system. If you're an electrician, my daughter's an electrician, so we often talk about in that way, and how we sort of, I say, ratchet down, you know. So from the more advanced energetics. So this is where I was going. I was looking at the meditation. So this is an advanced energetics. So the evolved system, there is an evolved system, energetic system that majority of you will have no idea about, right? And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're better or worse. It's just, you know, a little hint. So when we're building energy systems and evolving them, conscious evolution, the evolution of the human as a species, the energy systems, the chakras, the meridians, the vortex, the energy vortices that most of you probably have never heard about unless you're listening to me, right? Been talking about it for like 15 odd years. And what those vortices relate to. And so, you know, and knowing that so that you can work on that. Those vortices feed the chakras. It's a higher energy system. But you can work them in a particular way that you cannot work the chakras, because it would be too much, because it feeds into the next level and the next level, right? So there's ways of working with the systems. And as you build the systems, you not only get strength within your energetics, but the symptoms, the physical and psychological symptoms, become less and less and less. So I never work on the symptom, ever. When I worked with kids, they'd tell me I'd call it the alphabet. I'll just say, just tell me it's the alphabet, because I don't really care what you call it. It's an imbalance in the energetics. And when we work with the imbalance of the energetics, the alphabet, whatever you want to call or label somebody, dissipates, starts to shift and change, right? So the doctors and, you know, all the other people that you're working with, you still work with them. You work with your psychiatrist. So when I work with mental health, people can still work, you know, they're having their other people. But what we're working on is why you want to leave this planet. Why are you trying to exit? Because the divine spark within is exiting. The soul is finding it difficult to live in the physical body. Why? Well, that would be a particular reference for you personally, right? But there are, you know, the energy will tell me anyway, right? It will show me. It shows what, in psychology, they call it traits, right? And the bundle of traits then becomes a diagnosis through the DSM, right? The Diagnostic Statistic Manual, whatever it's called, right? The DSM. That's where, I think they're up to 5 or 6 now. I don't know. But it's an amalgamation or an accumulation of traits. So when the energetics are out, it produces a behavior, and that behavior is called trait. So, and then those traits have particular symptoms, like, there's a bunch of them, but they're specific for depending on what is out, right? So I find it fascinating. I just love, I love humans. Fascinating creatures. We are fascinating creatures, because, I mean, you can come at your health and wellness from a multiple perspective, right? So it's not just all about energy, although everything is energy. So it's not like you're not going to go to a doctor or a counselor or coach or whoever a psych, if you may need medication or whatever, right? What helps you accept your experience here on earth as a human? So you're going to do, we all behave, we all speak, we all say what makes it acceptable, because it's all fear. It's all our fears. But then, you know, those fears can spiral. And so just notice that for yourself, like why you say what you do when you say it. What's the fear behind it? What's the fear behind it? You don't like silence, or you're worried about the other person, or you think you have to communicate in a certain way. Like, what are the beliefs and conditions? You're saying, like, this is what I'm going to batter on about all the time. Beliefs, your belief systems and your conditioning are what is held and assists or desists your what would you call it, your stress response, I guess, to hold on or let go. Hold on or let go. Hold on or let go. When triple warmer is fighting for your life, it shuts down in a way that nothing can come in and nothing can go out. So it's like a shutdown of flow. And when that becomes extreme, right, you all feel it. Every stress response you have is due to triple warmer. And depending on what it dances with, what other energy it dances with and triangulates with, will produce how that is expressed in the world and through you, whether that's inflammation, because when you're stressed, you're not earthing. It starts to impact your kidney, your life force energy, you get tired, right? All of these things. So beginning and end, the beginning and the end and the beginning, the flow. It's flow, isn't it? It's like contraction, expansion, contraction, release, constriction, expansion, love, fear, or fear, love. In breath, out breath. Life is this. So this isn't bad or good, and this isn't bad or good. Just is. So notice when you feel that, what's your belief about that? Your belief, how you've been conditioned to understand a pain is ... And what if you shifted the story of that pain is whatever? I'm not going to say what, I mean, that's for you to say. And then when you had that feeling, it just was that feeling or that expression. Okay, my body's expressing. It's processing an experience it's going through. That's it. That's it. Accepting the experience, right? And there will be a point where you take action, but you'll find that the action isn't in fear of fear. Like, it's not in a spiraling of panic. It's in you're conscious. And when you're conscious, you can choose. Remember the other week I said most of you think you can choose, you have free will. But when you're in that beliefs and conditionings that's been encoded from like beyond birth, right? Until you can get out of that a little, all you're choosing is what you've been coded to. right? Some people might say in the box. What's outside of that? Out of like all the generations that have told you that when you have a headache, you take a headache tablet, for instance. I don't know what your beliefs and conditionings are, but, you know, you have them. We all do. We don't have memory as such. Our memory isn't laid down until after 3, up to 7, from 0 to 3, from beyond 0 to 3, we're encoding everything. It's just like a tape recorder. Tape recorder, that shows my age. I don't know what, you know, voice, whatever. But I'm assuming you know what a tape recorder is. Some of you, come on, give me some love. A recording device, okay? Your phone. But no, your phone doesn't do that. So maybe how some of those apps monitor you, right? Like that. It's collecting data. You're not even aware of it. And then, you know, our memory and how we develop our memory systems is different as we develop as a child, as a human. So what you've been encoded with, until we come to an awareness, a consciousness that it exists, that coding exists, that's what you're going to choose. Do you see? And you think you have choice. You have choice between what you're being encoded. Does that make sense? Oh, Ms. Ailey's saying that makes so much sense. There you go. Sounds so simple. It is simple. Everything's simple. The difficulty is doing it. Because why? Before we get cut off. Because triple warmer, your stress response governs your patterns, habitual patterns, governs your habits. So when it's on, you're in stress. And it could be subliminal stress. You're not even aware of what's happened to create a stress response. And many of you, I can remember a lot of people used to say, I'm not stressed. No, why? Because it's subliminal stress and you're living in a stress response. You're not even aware that your physiology is like going, danger, Will Robinson, right? You're peaking in your stress response, but it's so normal for you all that unless you're hit in the face with it, you think everything's sweet. And I know that from direct experience. That's why I'm so awesome in chaos, because I grew up in it. I'm encoded to do really well. That's why I was great in the infantry and that. I was awesome. I was an awesome soldier. Right? Because I can function really well in high stress situations. Why? Because I grew up in a really tough area where you were scanning for danger continuously, right? Which developed a lot of my skills, which are awesome, but I wouldn't want to put you through any of that to have this, right? There's other ways we can do that. So where was I going with that? So breathe for a start, that it's okay. And my relationship with triple warmer, with the nervous system and all its little aspects of how it develops in different arms of the physiological nervous system, but also the energetics. It's such an intelligent system, and all it wants to do is keep you alive, keep you safe. And sometimes we've got to tell it, hey, like reparenting it, hey, it's okay. We need to evolve the system to this time in our existence. The human energy system has not evolved unless you've been doing what I call conscious creative evolution and are evolving your energy systems to these higher understandings where, I mean, I'm not going to go into it today, but just so you've got that piece, your energy systems are working the same as they did 5,000 years ago when there was no light or electricity or cars, or like you might have had animals that were going to eat you. If you live in Australia, you still do. There's a little joke there. It's funny, people meet me and go, is it true that everything over there kills you? And I'm like, yeah, it's not true. Yeah, there's crocodiles walking down the street and kangaroos in your backyard and yeah, all the rest of it. Anyway, so I'm just cracking myself up. I was going to be heavy, right? But lately I've been shown it's like, if I'm here to assist you as a guide, as a way shower, then I need to be telling you the truth. Like I always told you the truth, but I was more gentle I didn't want to offend you, or, you know what I'm saying? But if I offend you, exit. just go, right? Because the people that are here and want to work on their health and wellness and their evolution, their conscious evolution, their conscious creative evolution, right? Then they'll get what they need, or at least the what do you call it? The Hansel and Gretel, the breadcrumbs. That you get enough of the breadcrumbs, you can put the picture together. And you can always ask me questions, I guess. So I'm going to wrap up because it's nearly 20 past, but my computer's still red. It says low battery. It will go to sleep soon. It will sleep soon unless plugged into a power outlet. Oh, that's nice. Okay. So interesting, because I wasn't going to mention any of this. I was going to ask you, but maybe we'll go into this on Thursday. And I started with this in Intuitive Studies program. I would ask people what their beliefs were. And particularly, so I'm going to end with this, I believe. And if you feel any of this in your body, acknowledge it as a fear, okay? Rather than switching off to what I'm about to say. Because I'm going to use words that will trigger some of you. And I know it will, but, you know, if we're not touching into those fears, then you're not going to get to your growth sections, right? So what is your belief in something greater than yourself? And I'm going to say this now in case we get cut off. What I've found is, and even for myself, why? Because I've had PTSD and general anxiety disorder. I cured myself from everything, right? But where I grew up, how I grew up, and being in the Defence Force and all the work that I was going into combat every day and seeing the most horrific things that most people never see, and I hope you never see, right? But that was my job. And the stuff with children and stuff, like, and if you don't have a strong sense of self, a strong belief system, eventually it just breaks you down. And we start to get PTSD, or we start to get mental health stuff, right? It starts to impact us. So the reason that I'm asking you what you believe, and I will never tell you what to believe. I'll just share with you what I've seen over my long time on this planet doing this work. Those that don't have a strong connection, I've seen, I'm generalizing, but what I've seen, have the most suffering. They do not have something bigger than themselves to believe in. Now, I don't care what that is for you. I want you to reflect. So I'm inviting you, I'm asking you reflect on what your beliefs are and why you have those beliefs. Where did they come from? So whether you believe in something bigger than yourself or not, if you don't, why don't you? What made you not? So if you believe that you are, see, I don't even know. I don't even know. But whatever that belief is, it's come from somewhere. So where has it come from? And this is about your story, how you are, why you are, and then how you are into the world, your frequency of how you are into the world. If you are believing in this, the little self being all there is, all well and good to you, no judgment there. I would then reflect on, and again, I do, you know, I just say, may you not suffer, right? All of you, may you not suffer unnecessarily in your life, unless that's for your growth, which really it all is for your growth. So whatever. But knowing what, like contemplating what you believe, and you'll only be able to, most likely only be able to get to a certain point without sort of prompting, right? So for those of you that want to share that with me, you can email me or post it privately or publicly, whatever you feel comfortable with. Because whatever you write, there's going to be more. It's just like these layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And what you don't know is the encoding, because it won't be in your memory as such. It's encoded. So it's a little bit more difficult. Well, it looks like my video is a bit weird, but anyway, okay. It's choppy, isn't it, Mercedes? So my battery's going flat. So I'll leave you with that. Let me know how you go with it. And it's purely just because of the work I'm doing at the moment and how I'm seeing that, you know, those with limited connection to something greater than themselves, they're really having much more difficulty than those that have a belief in something greater than themselves, greater than their physical. You know, when we think that our physical, this body is all that we are, there seems to be a loss of hope, is what I'm going to say. There can be a loss of hope, and that does link to the energetics. Hope is actually linked to the emotion of hope, and fear is connected to the life force energy of water rhythm or water elements, right? Which is also birthing, interestingly enough. So did I pull it around full circle? Is there any bits that I'm just having a little look? What have I went off in all different directions, but it sort of all came back, I feel. So I'll leave it at that. Some things to contemplate always. Food for thought, yes. And when you have that food for thought, when does it stop being me and start being you? There you go. That's where I started. Do you like that, Mercedes and Jennifer? Rebel? Who else is here? Pabby? Pabby's still here with us. Who else is here? Shalinda? Where does it start? Where do you start? Who are you? Where do you begin? Where do you end? Oh my goodness. Spend the rest of your life contemplating that. And if you can see energy, it's even more so, because you're looking at your hand and going, whoa, right? Or how your energetics like go off behind you, around you, into the earth, into the, you know, the stars and the levels. So Jennifer saying, this is what I have been experiencing, staying present and watching shifts. It takes time to learn, but doing the work. Yes, so let's finish here. Repetition, repetition, repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Repetition. So often, even, you know, really, oh, I just lost, I just lost the link. But I'm here on Instagram, so I'll finish here. Rinse and repeat. So often people will say, I already tried that, or I prayed, or I, you know, sat in energy, or I sat with the beloved, or holy wisdom, or my guides, my angel, whatever, you know, nature, whatever it is, or the